3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to TomGirl at AfterBuzz TV. This is episode 8, and we're going back to the 90s with Ben Giroux and Jensen Reed, so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Woohoo! Yeah! Sing it, sing it, sing it.
What's another round for A? I wish that we could stay in the 9 days.
And that's 9 days.
9 days.
Not 9 days.
In the 9 days. In the 9 days. Oh, yeah.
Can I keep you guys here for 9 days? I just want to hear it over and over. Hey guys, I have some very special guests today. Go ahead and introduce you guys and tell them where they can follow you at.
I'm Jensen Reed. You can follow me on Twitter, really all socials at Jensen Reed, JensenReed, all E's.
I'm Ben Giroux. You can follow me on Ben Giroux, everything, Facebook, Instagram, all of that.
How do you spell your name?
Oh,
Yeah.
BenGiroux.
More difficult than mine.
And I'm JJ Jurgens. You can follow me at JJ Jurgens or at TomGirl TV. So these guys are the creators of Back to the 90s video, woohoo, which has gotten now over 50 million hits.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's completely bonkers. I think we're almost actually at 55 million as of today, which is phenomenal.
How crazy was that when you first put that up there? Like, did you look right away to see that? Did you wait, a few hours, few days? When did you see, oh my gosh, we're really getting a lot of hits on this?
Yeah, well, I'll sort of give you a little context for it, actually. I was doing stand-up for a long time, largely about being a short guy, and I always wanted to make, a thug, braggadocious rap video about being short. So I teamed up with Jensen Reed for a music video called Little Dude Anthem.
And where'd we meet?
We met at DPN, our voiceover agency,
Where
we know you from.
Go way back.
Way back. Yeah, you said we actually read for some Budweiser spots or Bud Light spots together.
We read a lot. We read a ton
Yeah.
back in the day. So yeah, we all know each other through the voiceover world. That's how Jensen and I met.
Yep.
Jensen's an amazing hip-hop artist. I'm more of a comedian, and it just was a great partnership. So we created a music video called Little Dude Anthem, got 1 million views on that, and we knew we wanted to sort of do something that was a little bit more of a follow-up, even more epic. We recognized we were both really nostalgic guys, and the idea for Back to the 90s was born. We spent a year and a half, 2 years working on this whole thing. So in answer to your question, when we put it out, we expected it to do well. We did not anticipate within 5 days to have 30 million views and within 10 hours to have 1 million views, and there's the massive social media phenomenon that it's been.
Do you remember when the idea first came out? Who said, oh, we like the 90s? How did that happen?
Ben came to me. He was like, man, I think we should do a video about the 90s. And I was like, that's a great idea. And then music-wise, Christian Hand, who's my producing partner, he kind of gave us the idea that I think really set everything in motion to make it special. And he was like, well, if you want to do a video about the 90s, you should jam all of the major genres into one track. And I was like, ooh, that's a really cool idea. Just got to figure out how to produce the music for that. So, hip-hop verses, boy band choruses, a Britney section, grunge, R&B. So I think his music idea really kind of sent us going, because the music took a long time. That's partly why it lasted so long, is because it wasn't a normal track. It wasn't just like a hip-hop track to produce or something simple. But it all paid off, because I think that's really one of the things. By the time you get to the Nirvana grunge section in the video, to me, if you weren't sold on it at that point, you're like, oh, dang, they really did that.
The different genres actually allowed us to solicit all kinds of incredible talent in the project as a whole. We knew we wanted to do a bunch of animation, so we worked with some of my friends at Nickelodeon Animation on that. We worked with Jensen's buddy Dirty Hollywood on the grunge part. Just a awesome rock star.
Urkel's a VO guy too, isn't he?
Yeah.
From DPN, right?
Yeah, RV.
Yeah. I know him too.
RV's the man. RV, if you're watching.
The guy that plays Steve Urkel's, RV Lowe Jr., one of our awesome friends. He was actually in our first music video, Little Dude Anthem, because he is a fellow little dude.
He's a champ, always helping us out.
So lay out more of the timeline from, so how long did it take you to write the lyrics, then to the music, to shoot, how long did each little step take?
We kind of have a nice rhythm with Ben and our process, because I'll make a beat, a sketch beat, or the music, and then I will just almost sometimes do gibberish. A lot of songwriters do that, where you're like, you know, to try to get a cadence, and then I'll write some lyrics and then send it to Ben, and he has an idea of the pocket, and then we kind of finesse the lyrics together. So it went through a bunch of rewrites.
Yeah, I would say we probably worked on the lyrics portion of this for about 6 months, and we actually took about a month away from the track. We were busy. I was working on a television thing. Jensen was doing a bunch of voiceover stuff. And we came back to it and realized, you know what? There's not a catchy hook to the song. We tried to do it ourselves. Didn't totally work. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. And that's when Jensen had the great idea to bring in his buddy Jared Lee, who is Jason Derulo's songwriter, and he just wrote the New Kids on the Block track. He is an unbelievable talent.
And he's in your video.
He's
as
in
well.
the video, yeah.
Jared's the tall, suave, wounded member that is always, his in-ear monitor just can't seem to get right. So he was awesome, and yeah, his song, it was great to collaborate. That's what I enjoy with writing for music. You know, I've written a bunch of stuff on my own, but co-writes are always cool because it just elevates the level of the track. And like Ben said, we had an okay chorus. It was okay, but then Jared came in and wrote, you know, what ended up being a block, you know, an amazing chorus that charted on Billboard. So the hook is a big part of the song. I mean, the whole song is good, but that hook is pretty.
Was the Billboard a surprise too, or did, like, in addition to going viral, to then be on that list?
That was, for me, the coolest thing of it all. You know, everything's been great, but just as a musician hustling for a long time, it was a really validating thing for Ben too. But like, we did a Billboard interview, and I just kind of, it was just an awesome interview, and I also kind of said it's the typical overnight 15-year success story. Both Ben and I have been grinding, so that was cool for me.
I think what's really neat about being number 11 on the Billboard charts is it instantly legitimizes this as not only sort of a comedy endeavor, but also as a music endeavor. We think that there's tons of, you know, sketch comedy on YouTube that is sort of set to music that feels like sketch comedy. We're trying to do something different. We're kind of billing ourselves as the next Lonely Island. So I'm the comedy piece of it, Jensen's the music piece of it, and we really want to make badass music videos that just happen to be about silly things, but that have catchy tracks that belong on the radio. And I think charting on Billboard really legitimizes that endeavor.
Yeah, for sure. So when you released this, I read that you guys had a release party, and you had a themed party and had people dress up. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we always throw big parties, big premiere parties. When we did our Little Dude party, you could sort of, I think that's what's interesting about Jensen and my partnership, is you could split the room down the middle, and you've got a ton of just heavy hitters in the comedy world on my side, you've got heavy hitters in the music world on his side, and I mean,
VO people, agents.
You could speak to the electricity in the room of the Back to the 90s party, though.
It was, you know, Ben spares no expense or detail when planning these parties. So we had a photo booth. He encouraged everybody to dress up in 90s. Some of the outfits were amazing. My buddy Michael Vince DJ'd the whole night. And we got a real glimpse of, you know, after you work on something for so long, it doesn't matter what, any creative thing, it's hard to not get tired of it, or not, you just lose the excitement over, is it good or not? You know, it's like, we know it's solid, but at this point, I'm like, I don't want to hear this song again. Like, so, you know, when you just mixing and do everything. So the room was amazing. And when we screened the video, I have never, there was about 300 people in this nightclub, big system. We performed the song live, but I had never felt or heard a cheer for anything. I've rocked a ton of shows, you know, playing shows. It was like an ongoing scream for the video, and Ben and I were standing next to each other, we're like, holy shit, like, that's crazy. And I actually just can get goosebumps too, because it was it's funny to go back to that moment and not know what the result of the video was going to be, but just have a good feeling and have so many people tell us, like, dude, this is the greatest video I've ever seen. We're like, cool, yeah, I think it's going to do okay.
And we had, you know, obviously a lot of friends and family there, but I think that the electricity in that room on April 30th really transcended our personal relationships, and it was people really embracing the project. And so we told everybody in the room, we said, look, you know, if you're so inclined, go online at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, share the video. We're really proud of it. For us, this was not only a funny project, not only a cool song, but really a love letter to our childhoods. It was a really wistful, nostalgic thing that was made with a lot of love by like 200 different people. And so when we put this thing out, we saw it rapidly taking off those first couple hours. I think when we went to bed that night, when we had 1 million views after 10 hours, it was like, okay, this is doing well.
I kept watching it. When's it gonna get to a million?
Yeah.
When's it gonna get to a million?
And when it did it, we felt good about it, but we've had other videos get 1 million views, 2 million views, and so we were expecting it to kind of be in that vein and another little feather in our cap. When we woke up the next morning to 6 million views, and then by the end of that second night, it was at 25 million, we really knew that we were onto something that was not only viral, but really becoming a social media phenomenon.
I remember
yeah.
that morning really, my wife woke up earlier than I did, which is unusual because usually I wake up. But I woke up and she put the phone in my face. She's like, it's got 6 million views, oh my God! And I was like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
Well, I think what you said, though, is that you tapped into something everybody loves so much. Your tribute to your childhood, we all resonate with that, who grew up around the same age, too. Because you guys not only put, like, 1 or 2 little tributes in there, there were so many different, tributes. So tell me about that, like, going back and finding all those wonderful things from the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, it was painstaking attention to detail, I think. I
Yeah.
came to Jensen with a list, I would say, 150 items deep of pop culture, merchandise, movies, TV, all sorts of stuff that I just loved about the 90s. I think the cool thing about our partnership, too, is there's probably 5 or 6 years in between us age-wise, so we have
old.
slightly different context and perspectives for the 90s, which actually allowed us to complement each other with the references we were bringing to the table.
Yeah. Because I'd asked him, I'm like, I don't know. It's a cartoon. I wasn't really watching 90s
Clarissa
stuff.
explains it all.
Clarissa explains all. I was like, I know that's Melissa Joan Hart, but I don't care. Do people care about her? I don't,
Yeah.
Because the music part of it was like that. I feel fortunate to grow up then. I'm a big hip hop fan and also all music, but like 94 especially was a buddy of mine, Kazi in North Carolina, put out an album called The Spirit of 94 in 2000s or whatever, but it was like Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, Biggie, Tupac, Outkast, Southern Playalistic music. It was like the year of hip hop, and I brought, we kind of just compiled a Google Doc and just kept adding stuff. And speaking of the lyrics, we cut a ton of stuff, like,
man.
and people hit us up like, why didn't you remember Pogs?
Oh man,
and
so much black about Pogs.
Pogs is probably the number one omission. It was in there.
Tamagotchis was too.
Tamagotchis, and we just had to keep cutting babies because at some point you can't include it all.
Yeah. But
so.
it's given us a plethora of material for Back to the 90s Part 2,
Oh,
which
yeah.
we are 1,000% going to do.
Oh, awesome. Are you going to do Back to the 80s, too? I heard that. Yeah?
Definitely
No? Yeah?
on the
Okay.
slate, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I want the Flashdance cameo in that one for sure.
There are a lot of really cool ideas we're working on. And I think the momentum of this project has really opened us up to a variety of cool cameo opportunities in our upcoming videos, just bigger, badder, crazier in our next project, which we're really excited to do.
While we're talking about it, let's just show a little. I know hopefully most of you watching have already seen it, but for those of you who are new and haven't, we'll give you a little glimpse of this video so you can enjoy it.
There we are
Okay.
in all
We're
our
just queuing it
glory.
back
Oh,
up
man,
to the beginning
all
here.
our
Yeah.
Beautiful white outfits.
That is just amazing.
You know, that chin strap beard that he had.
Yes,
That
I
was
do
a
want to talk about that.
game time decision.
Let me know when you want to talk about it and I will share.
Okay.
I'm proud of it.
Let's. Are you ready to go cue it?
The TriCast is not reading it. Give me a
Okay, we'll talk about the
Chin
beer
strap.
now. They'll come back. Yeah.
I had an idea. I texted Ben. I was like, dude, I think I can get some serious production value out of my beard. And so I grew it thick. I always have a little bit of a scruff for a beard, but I grew it really thick because we shot the Bob Ross stuff in the morning. So I was like, oh, it's going to be great having, my afro with Bob Ross. And then I was like, then I'm going to shave it down into a pencil thin, well, not a pencil thin, but
Yeah.
a sick chin strap. And so I Googled, and this is one of the funny things we'll probably talk about later, but I Googled on set, I said AJ from Backstreet Boys to get the inspiration for what it was. And I went into the bathroom and I did my chin strap, and then I had our makeup woman help me really form it. But yeah, I like to think I got a good amount of production value out of that beard because it is so
it's
grimy.
ridiculous.
It's like
So
when I came back to set, we were out early, like 5:30 call time, and then we switched locations and went to this airplane hangar. And when I came to set, there were so many people that were like,
who is that
dude,
guy?
Yeah.
but who are you? With the fedora, and I played I had to play the bad boy, kind of like yeah.
And I was
You went
hell
for
bent on
Frosted
those
tips.
frosted tips. That was like as soon
Yeah.
as we knew we were doing a boy band thing, I was like, I gotta bleach my tips, and it was an experience. Yeah, I was in the shower for a long time. It was temporary, Kind of. I mean, it was like a good 2-hour shower to return to normalcy.
I brought the chin strap back for our party too. Had to rock it again, and then I shaved it down in many different, I think 9 different ways to have facial hair, which people do sometimes, but like all the way down to the last one was a Hitler mustache. Oh my god, this is bad.
Yeah, it was a bad look. It was not a good
bad
look.
Well, you had a few things because you got stuck in the costume, right?
So, this was obviously a really aggressive production schedule. We prepped this thing for like literally 6 months, this shoot, from production design to the shot list to wardrobe to makeup. I mean, there was a ton that went into this. And so one of the quick vignettes we did was in a Power Rangers outfit. And we got these Power Rangers outfits with the full mask, and it was the second to last shot.
It was late.
I think. Late. We'd been on set for like 2 days straight, 20-hour days, crazy. And I'm a little claustrophobic, and mine got stuck, and I'm like trying to breathe through the thing, and they wind up cutting the mask off of me.
Yeah.
I tried to play it off.
the panic
yeah,
moment.
Were you a little freaked?
I was freaking out. Yeah, it was not good.
And how was getting slimed? Because we all dreamed about getting slimed.
It was great, and it's the funny thing is, it's the last, if you watch the behind the scenes, it was the very last thing. We're in a residential neighborhood on their driveway with a tarp, and we got one chance. So right before we did it, I was like, better not mess up your line because it would not happen again. So it was, what was a mixture of applesauce, green food coloring.
But the worst was detergent.
And detergent. To help it, the detergent, which is interesting, gave consistency, but also helps it wash off.
And added benefit, helps you go
Burns your
blind.
eyes.
Because we slimed ourselves this very last part of the shoot, and my eyes are just like searingly burning. It was a really weird way to end the shoot, but it was really fun. And I'm a Nickelodeon employee. I'm on a couple of Nickelodeon shows, and I've always wanted to be slimed, and so we created our own opportunity to get slimed, and it was pretty gross, actually. It hurt, but it was great. Yeah, it was a really fun piece of the shoot.
Awesome. Oh, we're not connecting. So you guys check out the video. We might get it later in the show. If not, go check it out on YouTube or on your guys' sites. Want to ask you, what is your favorite item from the 90s?
Ooh. I think for me it's just the music, like I mentioned before. Are you actually asking about like an item or just anything?
Anything from the 90s.
Yeah, it's just the music. I'm gonna sound real old now, but like just like I mentioned, the hip hop and the grunge, and I don't know, just that whole section. The time of music was, I think, some of the best in history for me growing up, and yeah, just simpler times too. I think that's also when when people watch this, it's like it just kind of harkens back to times when the world's not quite so messed up and it's simpler. And
we actually think that's one of the reasons that this caught on the way it did. Is like when the world's in kind of an icky place right now, people want to think of simpler, easier times, and I think we sort of positively tapped into that.
When pagers were cool.
And Jinkos.
Well, and even the Walkman from the beginning. It's like I remember running with my little Sony yellow Walkman, and I love that. Yes, totally. Yeah, and I do. I think sometimes you're so connected to everything we have now and the advanced technology that sometimes it's fun to just think about. But
I did love. I actually played more video games in the 90s than I'm not a gamer now really, but like NBA Jam and Nintendo was just massive for me. So that also was cool.
That leads into actually what my favorite thing was Nickelodeon cartoons. I grew up on Ren and Stimpy and Doug and Rugrats and Rocko's Modern Life. I mean, just every possible Nicktoon I was obsessed with. I actually voice a Nickelodeon cartoon now, Bunsen is a Beast, which has been a very full circle thing in my life. So I knew, like, when we were going to do something about childhood, there was a big animation component, because, when I think about the television that I used to watch as a kid, it was all animation.
So now a few things have come up because of this video. You were in an interview and you got surprised by one of the Backstreet Boys.
AJ.
Yes. AJ McLean from the Backstreet Boys surprised us during an interview on television, invited us to join them in Vegas. This was after we learned about charting number 11 on Billboard. Such a cool opportunity. We've really, just kind of bonded with the guys. It's been a really fun endorsement to have. We obviously got tons of great 90s celebrity endorsements, when this thing started to take off. But the Backstreet Boys is probably the top of that list because obviously...
I think we have a little picture of you guys with them.
The video kind of parodies it. And those guys were awesome because they really embraced the celebration of the music and as well as, there's comedy. We're sort of making fun of it at the same time. So we got to go to Vegas and join them at their Las Vegas residency at Planet Hollywood. We actually just got back from Vegas, hamming it up with them. And so, yeah, we can't, speak their praises enough. It was a lot of fun to hang with them in Vegas.
Kudos to them for not taking themselves seriously. I mean, the inspiration for the choruses was their video, I Want It That Way, all white, cheesy choreography. And AJ, even in the video, said in the interview, he was like, yeah, and anytime you do this, you got it. And I confirmed my facial hair dopeness with him on camera because I was like, hey man, how'd I do on the facial hair? Funny enough, there have been some really big Backstreet Boys fans that have hit me up, actually probably 10, that have told me, your facial hair is not right. And I'm like, funny enough, and I sent them the screenshot of the photo of AJ. She was like, it's the wrong time period. The facial hair that he had in the I Want It That Way video was not the facial hair you had. I was like, all right, well, it was still dope, and I got an endorsement from AJ. So
Yeah.
What was really, and I think that's an interesting point, is that we've really tapped into something that people are really passionate about. We initially expected Back to the 90s to really resonate with 25 to 34-year-olds, but I think the thing that was surprising to us is we've got teenagers who are super excited about 90s. They didn't live through it, but it's sort of trendy right now. And, older people in their 60s who are sort of reaching out to us saying, wow, I remember when I was raising my kids during that time period. So I think we tapped into a time period that everybody can feel nostalgic about. And, when we were in Vegas, at Planet Hollywood, thousands of screaming fans for the Backstreet Boys.
Screaming women.
Women, yes. It is
insane.
Clear to us that the 90s are super relevant again, and boy bands are kind of back. And so I think we almost unknowingly tapped into something that people are super passionate about and wistful for.
And there's just a show out now, right?
Boy band.
But
And Nick Carter
right.
is part of it. Rita Ora, Timbaland. Yeah, it's funny because sometimes things happen how they're supposed to. The delay in getting this project out was perfect, and there's no way to really predict that. Like, we know we captured lightning in a bottle. But if we would have put it out 6 months earlier, it may not have been resonated as strongly with people. So it's just funny, the delay and all the hard work that we put in actually ended up benefiting us because it obviously came out at the perfect time.
We shot it.
Happens for a reason.
Yeah, I was going to say, we shot it in November 2016, but we didn't release it until May 1st, 2017, because animation took forever. We had to color correct it. We had special effects, video effects to put in. So it was, a massive post-production team, just as much as the people that actually helped us shoot it on the production days.
It's funny, Ben and I edit all our videos too, and this one, because of the painstaking detail in pre-production, the original skeleton for it came together really quickly, and it was, Ben directed it and had all these shots lined up where you just had to drop them in, because we know when we say Beanie Babies, we're going to show a Beanie Baby. We know, it all came. Now then, we are super anal about everything, so we sat for countless hours, finessing the edit. But the actual skeleton, we popped it in, and I do remember, man, sitting at your place editing, we were like, this is really good. Like this, and that was before all that jaded thing I was telling you about, how after you listen to it 1,000 times and watch it and edit and obsess over it, you're like, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
The early moments when we put the skeleton together, we were like, wow, this is really good. But it's easy to forget about that.
Yeah.
And I think it was something that we were private about for so long. We held on to this, working on it for 2 years, that it's almost hard to fathom now that almost 60 million people have consumed something that we just held to so close to our chest for so long.
Yeah.
So it's really validating and vindicating, and we're just humbled and grateful for this huge opportunity.
Yeah. Kind of a random question, but normally when you're editing something and you're working on it for so long and looking at the videos, when you sleep, you do have like dreams about it. Any random weird dreams about this video?
More just like the production schedule, I think. Like on day 2, we were behind by like 4 hours, and I've been in some frenzied situations on set before on a lot of our music videos and some of the narrative stuff that I've directed, but like this was a lot. We had like 100 people on set, dancers, a huge camera team. So to go behind that long, I was freaking out. So yes, a couple of nightmares going like, we're behind. We gotta catch up on set.
And the track was just running through my head. In sleep. That always happens to me if I'm editing a video, seeing the clips. Like I've had either going to bed or waking up, or even, I don't know if in dreams, but I've had like editing, oh wait, that cut would be cool. And so yes, it permeates sleep, and you edit stuff too. It's weird how you just get immersed. Something about the visual aspect of it too, and it's also auditory. So it's, yes, it's swims in your head nonstop.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about the shoot day. So, how long did it take to coordinate the dancers and your guys' choreography, all those kind of elements?
Well, fun story about our dancers. 3 days before, I work with the same choreographer all the time, my friend Morgan Larson. She's incredibly
awesome.
Talented. I've done a couple of plays with her in the Pasadena Playhouse. And 3 days beforehand, her and a bunch of other of her dancers that were supposed to do the shoot booked Dancing with the Stars. So they had a conflict. So we lost like all our dancers 3 days before the shoot. And we had to just put the feelers out. Wound up getting like 9 other dancers. Everybody was enormously talented. I think Jensen and I really pride ourselves on having a team of people around us and people that we work with that are all just good human beings. Everybody just wants to make the greatest possible project possible. And yeah, so the dancer thing worked out well. But in terms of prepping the shoot, I mean, we worked for months planning it. Jensen kind of hinted at this. Usually you're going to shoot a music video where you're doing large passes of the song. You're just shooting in various locations the entirety of the song. That was impossible for this. So we had to take individual chunks and essentially edit this thing prior to even shooting it in our heads and say, okay, in this setup we're getting these 2 lines. In this setup we're getting these 3 lines, which was the only possible way to shoot this in 2 grueling production days.
Yeah, the dancers, we do have some footage of us in rehearsal, which is ridiculous. Jared was there, and we brought it like Garrett Clayton, who's also featured in this, who's just an awesome sport about everything and a huge supporter, and he went to Vegas with us. Garrett is a really good dancer, like he was on Hairspray Live, but Ben and I we got some rhythm, but so Garrett didn't even need to be at rehearsal. He was able to pick it up on set. But man, it is so funny. And Morgan was so pumped because, and then by the way, when Morgan dropped out, Meg Littler, who we worked with on Little Dude Anthem, also she came in and picked up the choreography, which was great. But Morgan was so excited to choreograph this silly boy band routine for us and watch us.
Yeah.
So passionate. It was just burning with passion.
Easy to emote.
Oh, that's amazing. So, what has been either your most surprising thing about this video for you, or the thing that you've loved the most?
Man, I mean, this thing has gotten legs, and every time I think that the momentum has started to subside, something new and insane happens for us. I think the biggest thing to happen so far, at least for me as a comedian, is we're pitching some television shows ideas right now. And I've been writing television for a long time, but to get the kinds of meetings and the kinds of opportunities that we're getting now as a result of getting a lot of eyeballs on us is really exciting, because it's going to set us up to not only continue to do great music video content, but really some exciting narrative stuff too, that hopefully a lot more eyeballs are going to see. So yeah, I think just sort of the narrative side of it for me as a filmmaker is really exciting.
Yeah, I think kind of piggybacking on that, it's the bigger picture. Because Ben and I, our partnership, we really bolster up each other's strengths and talents. And one thing that we are hustlers. So we could have had a video that went viral and had a bunch of views, and then cool. But we have furiously hustled in this city. I've been here 10 years. He's been here 15 or however many long. It's amazing when you have something that opens up some doors. People want to actually just listen to what you have to say, which is awesome. So we've just kind of put together plan after plan to be super versatile. Our skill sets are versatile, and just to take advantage of that long-term big picture, because we can kind of build a career that's really multifaceted. And I think that's the biggest thing, because I think we're both proud of the fact that we've been able to get some stuff going on a nice scale. And hopefully we can share a made TV show at some point with people, and then it would be like the most ridiculous thing.
We were kind of talking privately too, just sort of saying, we're excited that this happened at this stage of our lives and our careers, because I think both of us could say we have a body of work now, Jensen with music, me with comedy, that we're really proud of, and it allows, now that we have an audience, it allows people to sort of go back and see our catalog of work. And then on the flip side, we also are prepared for the moment. So we have a litany of other music video ideas that we want to pair up with brands that we want to produce. We have, like we talked about, some television show ideas. So we're prepared not only with a portfolio of work for the last decade, but also a slate of projects that we're ready to make. And I think had this happened 10 years ago, I know, speaking for myself, I don't think I would have been ready for the moment, and now we are very ready.
This ain't our first rodeo.
Yeah, no,
Like they say in North Carolina.
I want to talk about both of your guys' your skill set too, because let's talk about your music a little bit.
Cool.
So I went researching you guys. I went and
Thanks,
looked at all your
JJ.
acting
Thank
stuff
you.
and all your music. So I get why this combination is working so well with the comedy and the music. So yeah, I was blown away, like with the range of your music. It's like you have some very hardcore, like heavy stuff, and then you have the light indie at the beach kind of pop stuff. So kind of talk about your music. For
Yeah,
fans.
I've been making music for over 20 years. I'm a songwriter, artist, and producer. I've done all the shows. Like I haven't played too many live shows in the past few years, but I played Troubadour and Roxy and School Night at Bardot, and I've just always loved pop music. But I've kind of got two strong suits. I love dark hip hop and then also kind of upbeat pop stuff. So I think that's maybe somewhat confusing for listeners sometimes, although when I put together an album, I try to make it so it's sequential and it makes sense, even though it's very different. But yeah, I've been at it for a while, and I know you watched. I've got like 16 other music videos. My video team, which is kind of how we collaborated. Matt Rowe and Zach Saltzman have shot a bunch of music videos for me, and they're amazing cinematographers. And Matt shot Little Dude Anthem, and then Zach shot Back to the 90s, and yeah, they killed it.
They're unbelievable. I think that was actually really cool about our partnership is when we kind of joined forces. I already had a production team, Jensen already had a production team, and we just kind of combined all of the all-stars from both of our teams and formed really an unbelievable team of talent at every level. I mean, everybody on our production team. I think that's what's so exciting about this momentum with this project. It is a win for everybody. Because when we go on to make stuff and more money and stuff starts coming in, those are the people that we're taking along with us for the ride. And so it's really not just about me and Jensen, it's about this entire collective that we've created of really talented filmmakers. And we would be remiss not to mention our producers on the project, my buddy Scott Thomas Reynolds, our mutual friend John Rosenblum, Mark Barnes, St. John Rosa. We have an unbelievable just group of friends around us that are supremely talented at all levels, and this thing could not have been made possible without them.
Yeah. And I actually, with my music, I just released a new single actually, featuring my friend Alexa Mello. It's Alexa Mello. It's called "You Can't Stop Me." It's a big anthemic pop hip hop track. Really timely because it's basically about the creative struggle that any artist, whether it's music or actor or whatever, goes through of like self-doubt, anxiety, but ultimately I'm never going to stop doing what I do. And when I performed, I track all my vocals at my home studio, and when I performed them, Back to the 90s had already blown up. I had scratch vocals for a long time, but when I performed the actual ones that ended up on the track, there was a lot of truth in it, because it was like, you can't stop me. It's like, it's now at 30 million, it's at 40 million. And I'm cutting together a music video for that right now too, just to get some like quote unquote serious music out there while Back to the 90s is going on, because if people only know me from this video, if they do check out when they do check out my other videos, please
do it.
I swear they're solid.
They are.
There's a lot of variety, and it might be cool to see me in a different light than Chinstrap and Fiddle.
Well, and your music has been used on television shows and
yes,
well.
That's been cool. I've made some great music supervisor contacts, and some of the big ones like CSI New York had a song on there. Friday Night Lights years ago, which is one of my all-time favorite shows. So that was a really cool one, because I'm obsessed with that show, and to have it on the show was cool. House of Lies, Showtime. So yeah, it's been a really cool thing. And also early on in my career, those were nice wins. That gave me, again, self-doubt as an artist. Am I good enough? Is it, those were nice wins to let me know, okay, I'm competitive. My music's on a network. So then I know that just those little wins along the way help bolster and give you confidence to move into the next projects.
And to Jensen's credit, like when I was looking for somebody to collaborate with musically on a funny music video on our first project, on our first go-around, I'd met with a couple other people, but I mean, Jensen is a legit hip hop artist, and it is unbelievable. I mean, the talent is unbelievable. He's super humble. I'm like his best PR person.
He is.
But
Biggest fan.
His new
It's great.
track is unbelievable. I mean, this thing belongs on the radio. It's incredible. So I just feel like, there's such legitimacy to our partnership because he's an extremely talented musician.
And lastly, I sent him to Ben as examples. I've always done comedy videos, and we'll probably talk about it because we mentioned North Carolina. But
I was just going to talk about that next. Let's go into it. Yes.
So I'm a huge UNC Tar Heel fan. I mean, Carolina basketball. There couldn't be anything bigger in my life. Which so back in like years ago, I've done 3 parodies about how much I hate Duke basketball. I hate Duke basketball
hilarious.
more than anything in the world. Like with a vitriol, I just hate them. So I've always done comedy music videos. There's another one called Grading on a Curve, which is really, it's a funny video too. But the Duke ones, kind of,
there's like a cat pooping in the toilet for the Dookies.
they're Dookies.
And like, right? Yeah, Dookies.
Dookies. I just hate them. But this was the greatest basketball season ever because preseason, the Dookies were preseason #1 unanimous. People talking about the greatest team in the history of college basketball, like the best team ever, all the talent coming back. Well, they shit the bed, lose in the second round, garbage season, all this NBA talent. They had 3 players just get drafted in the top 20. Meanwhile, Tar Heels win the national title. I went to Houston last year to watch us lose heartbreakingly to Villanova with my buddy Matt Duffett, who is a Villanova grad, and I just sat there, my stomach, like my heart just sank. So the validation and I went to Phoenix. My wife and I went to Phoenix and got to watch us win the national title. It was an ugly tournament. We didn't play that well the whole time, but it was incredible. And I just learned before this interview that you are a Tar Heel fan too.
I am a huge fan, yeah. So
crazy.
people that always wonder why, because I played basketball in Nebraska.
Did you?
I did. But we...
You know, a lot of people think I used to play basketball too. I always have to tell them they're wrong.
Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah.
I actually always get the comment, you're too short to play basketball.
Nice.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
But yeah,
You got skills playing it. I mean, wow.
It was fun. I didn't play too much in college, but it's okay. It's okay.
But
it
even
was
if you're on the team in college,
I was a walk-on, and then I was a scholarship.
You gotta have
so it
skills.
Yeah.
Big deal.
But so our first tournament we traveled to, we actually played at Duke, and I was a huge North Carolina fan. So we just got to tour the Dean Dome while I was there, and I was just like, oh my God, it's heaven! Like it was so beautiful in there. But my first points ever in college were at Duke, so I have a little love for it. And the only other person I do love me some JJ Reddick though, and I have to
All
because he
women
shoots
love
the
him.
3 bomb, and that's
Yeah, I know. And you know what, JJ,
but anybody else, I'm
like
with you
Reddick.
with everybody else.
JJ now has gotten, like, I can't hate him as much. And look, he whatever. But he's cool. You know, I know he's
I'm
got a
with you.
podcast.
The rest Dookies. The rest all Dookies. But,
And I'll tell you the fun basketball through line here is Jensen and I are also both big NBA fans,
Yeah.
and in a very competitive fantasy basketball league together. My team did terribly this year.
Mine did too. We were too busy producing
other
back
stuff,
then.
yeah.
It
I
was
couldn't
not
pay
good.
attention to the NBA slate,
not
but
good.
I'm pumped you're a Tar Heel fan,
Yeah.
and it was a great. While we were in Phoenix, I said to my wife, I was like, if we win, I won't care about basketball for 5 years. Like, if we win the title, I won't care. And she's like, yeah, remind me when October comes around, and I'm already checking. You know, I'm already it's
into
bad.
it. Yeah, that's great. All right, let's see. So, any more on your upcoming? I want to get through everything we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I know you said some of the upcoming projects. Anything else? Oh, you did ask fans to tweet in videos of themselves singing to your
Yes.
song as well, right? Is that still ongoing? Can they still do that?
We keep getting tons of submissions. I think we're waiting to get a few more, and we want to ultimately intercut it with celebrities doing it. So we're going to reach out to a bunch of 90s relevant cameos to cut together a big montage video of fans and celebrities alike singing back to the 90s. So that's just another project. We're also doing a super cool lyric video that's going to be coming out soon, animated by a friend of mine at Nickelodeon Animation. So yeah, we've just got a lot of sort of ancillary content coming out, still related to back to the 90s, which is going to, the fans are going to like. And then obviously our upcoming music videos are going to be bonkers.
And how about your acting? Because I know I wanted to touch on that too when we talked about your music. So, because you've been in all kinds of drama, comedy, Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of at it. I've sort of been a perennial guest star for the last 10, 11 years of my life. I've done Bones, House, NCIS, Anger Management. I've got a pretty long list of television credits.
His reel is awesome.
I watched it. Yeah. The anger management one, I was my favorite. That was pretty
thank
much
you.
Jersey Shark Attack.
Jersey, yeah, I've done a lot of
Shore.
Lifetime movies.
That was my favorite.
But yeah, most recently I've been doing a lot of kids television. I've been doing a lot of Nickelodeon shows. I play the main villain on Henry Danger. They're in season 4. They won the Kids' Choice Award this year. And I'm starring on Butch Hartman's new cartoon Bunsen is a Beast, which I referenced earlier. Butch is famous for Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom and Tough Puppy. So really getting to voice an animated series has been a lot of fun. I do a very manly voice. It's very, very low in my register. That's how I actually get dates. Is doing that voice now. Anyways, yeah. So no, I think I've been really lucky to have just a really diverse career in television and film, and all the roles that I book are very different from the next. I've kind of been a little bit of a chameleon. And then what's been great about producing my own content is, I get to construct the roles that I want to play. I think for a long time I was reticent to direct things that I was acting in, and then I kind of just embraced it. We have a team that we trust. I don't run a set like a dictator. We can really all talk, and my AD will tell me when I got it or when I didn't get it. So I think it's really cool to be proactive about producing my own stuff too, and I think that's where I ultimately see my career headed.
You did some producing on Nickelodeon, right? Or what, Henry Danger? Did you assist?
I'm doing sort of directing shadowing over there. So, maybe they'll throw me an episode one of these days, but that's been really interesting, obviously, to shadow on a sitcom, because a multicam show works totally different than a single cam stuff, and all the stuff that we do is single cam. So there's different verbiage, there's different workflows, and so that's been a really fascinating experience, and one that I hope to continue to flourish in.
What advice do you guys have for people out there trying to start their own, posting their own YouTube videos? Any advice or any tips?
You mind if I take this one?
Take it, man.
I think there's a lot of YouTubers that churn out 5, 6, 7 videos a week, and their sort of view on it is more is more. I have always taken a different approach. I think it is much more important to put out 2 or 3 things a year that are going to blow people's minds. Now, you're not going to get 1 million subscribers doing that, but anything that people see of your work is going to be of the utmost quality, and it's going to be absolutely insane. And I know that's the model that Jensen and I have both taken with our music videos. Look, we could be putting out a music video every 2 weeks if we wanted to that cost $500, and we got a couple people together with a little tiny camera. We think there is much more value in doing fewer projects that are completely insane. So my advice would be, put your eggs in a few baskets rather than doing a bunch of vlogging about Starbucks lattes, because honestly the internet is so oversaturated with that kind of stuff. You have to make great stuff to rise to the top. We could have done a 90s video in a few days and put a video up, and it would have done nothing, but we spent 2 years on something with a real plan in place to make it successful. And so I would say, do a couple things every year that are insane.
Yeah, it definitely shows in your guys' work, because when I looked at all your videos, and I've been watching other YouTubers as well to learn and stuff, and I know that there are a bunch of shooting on their iPhones or doing it quickly, but everything that you guys did had such high production value, and it looks beautiful, and like you said, it's color corrected, it's got great graphics, so it really shows the time.
Nothing against them, because honestly, that's not the model, right? The YouTube, I learned that a long time ago, because I'm an artist. I'm a music artist. I'm not a YouTuber. So all of my videos, I can't put out a video every Tuesday. And so there's nothing knocking that. It just have to kind of mutate and adapt to what you can do skill set wise. And we've done some covers and parodies and stuff like that, but again, if we're going to do it, we want to shoot a really slick video for the parody, and not but also resources. Look, Back to the 90s wasn't cheap. Ben and I have really hustled to put together money, so to put together a video like that is not easy. So somebody also, I would just say, just hustle, just work. When I would get discouraged throughout the years, it would be, I just want to get better. I finally was like, I'm not making this to get, because I had a bunch of videos that I put out that I felt might, reach out on a wider scale, and they didn't. And I just kind of had to center in to be just improving. All right, just get better at songwriting. That's been my goal, to be a better songwriter, because ultimately, for me, like with songs, you can't deny a hit song or a really strong song. So that's, I guess, from a bigger picture, like any advice would be to just really get your craft down. And if your craft is giving the best reviews of lattes on the internet, you have 3 million people that do it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. We just had to adapt.
I think that taps into, one final point that I wanted to make, which is I think for a long time at the beginning of my career, I did things and I created things I felt like I should be creating to appease other entities, to work with other people, and I wasn't really satisfied in the comedy that I was making. And once I had this epiphany and I sort of shifted to making things not that I should be making, but that I wanted to be making, I was so satisfied, and my comedy became better. The end product became so much better.
That's a good point.
We made Back to the 90s ultimately because we wanted to make Back to the 90s. And I think that's what people see in our end product is these guys are having fun making what they want to be making and doing what they want to be doing. So stay true to yourself and what you want to make.
I was just about to say that really you got to make it for yourself, because that's what I figured out when I'm expecting these to do well. Ultimately, just get better and make stuff that you are going to make no matter if anybody sees it, and then you could hopefully hit on something. So
great advice, guys. So much fun. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're just about out of time. Each week here we pick a TomGirl of the week. So we're going to keep with a little bit of the music theme.
Nice.
So I'm going to go with, who's she up there? Lainey Jones.
Ooh.
So this girl, if you guys have not heard of her, she's really just kind of an up-and-comer right now. She's played at the Hotel Cafe out here, some small little venues, and she's on some of the folk festival circuits. But she's amazing, and she just has such good spirit. She reminds me of you guys. She's just passionate and loves what she's doing, and she's kind of having that attitude right now too, like singing what she wants to sing and what she loves, and it comes out. This song right here is called Run Wild, and it was actually the theme song for the Red Bull Wings of Life World Run last year. So she submitted it. They had a call for people to submit their music, and she was one of the submissions. She took a chance, and they picked her. So she was out there, I think, opening day of the run, letting her music be heard. So anyway, she's somebody to check out.
Sounds great.
She's really
nice sound.
Great voice. Love the Hotel Cafe. I've seen so many shows there.
So good, isn't it?
And I remember I went to see Mumford & Sons years ago at the Hollywood Bowl, and they're like, our first show in LA was at the Hotel Cafe. There's so many the artists that have played that venue. It's a room that holds 200, maybe, something like that.
Great
But
venue.
then they'll go on, in 2 years, they'll be playing Hollywood Bowl or something huge.
Yeah,
It's an awesome
that's
venue.
what I love to see. And it's a small, then there's little side stage too, and then they only get like an hour, and they're off. So it's usually not even like a whole, night with somebody.
What's great about that place too is, oddly, they run on schedule at Hotel Cafe. Rarely in music do artists come out and play at their showtimes, but Hotel Cafe
Hey,
runs
we're playing
it.
at 9:30.
Yeah.
We'll be, it's like,
They
be
are,
there.
and they're
It's great.
out. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah,
I'll
definitely
check
a
out
fun
Lainey
place.
for sure. I like her
Yeah,
voice.
It's awesome.
there you go. Well, guys, thank you so much.
Thank
it's been
you,
so
JJ.
fun to come in
Thank
here
you
and
for
see you guys. I haven't seen you guys for years,
been a long
so
time.
like when I saw,
Awesome.
and I'm so happy for you guys.
Thank
It's
you.
just fun to
Thank
see
you.
this happen for you guys, and I can't wait for the TV show eventually.
We'll
New
see.
things, new videos. I am very excited for Back to the 80s too. So
Thank you for having us. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure.
tell everybody again where they can follow you at.
Jensen Reed, JensenReed, all E's, all over the place.
Yeah, you can follow me at Ben Giroux Actor on Facebook, Ben Giroux TV on YouTube, and Ben Giroux on Twitter.
And you guys can follow me at JJ Jurgens. We're off next week for the 4th of July, so everybody have a very happy 4th of July, but we'll be back the following week. So see you then. Bye.
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio, Instagram at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.